This is Hitting the Post, NorthJerseySports.com's original multimedia series talking all things North Jersey soccer. Brought to you by the Bergen County Education Association. Bergen County Public Schools work because the BCEA works with you. Back on Hitting the Post, NorthJerseySports.com's original multimedia series talking all things North Jersey soccer. This is season 2, episode, well, I really don't know what episode it is because we've skipped a couple of weeks due to, well, a burst water heater way back sometime around August 2nd, but I am back now. Technical difficulties, logistical problems, all taken care of here. I am back in the revamped, reconstituted, and rebuilt world headquarters of NorthJerseySports.com. And I am being joined by my co-host, Jim Fucci. What's going on, Jimmy?
Question for you. We haven't had a show in about a week and a half, 2 weeks.
Yes.
Any football shows in that time span?
There was a football show or two in that time span, but the problem is... well, let's not get into
that. That's from Coach Lombardo.
Touche, Johnny.
That's payback.
Jimmy, did you see Johnny and I hugging last week at the Bergen County quarterfinals?
I was a little surprised in Johnny. I thought he was gonna shun you a bit.
He maintains that he did not lift his arms and return the embrace. It was all me.
This is a great week of the year.
It is awesome.
Yeah, honestly, and forget about county finals. You got Mischief Night. You got Mischief Night, which
yes.
If you're from Lower Bergen County, you call Mischief Night when you went out and you egged cars, especially cop cars. You know, you killed your friend's cars with shaving cream, and then you got Halloween the next day. It doesn't get...
It is.
You know, and this, I know this is a special time for you because this is the one time of year that you actually can wear your dress and get away with it.
You got the wrong guy. That was Jack Cognetta, pal.
Cognetta, okay.
I did not take that bet. I am a man with dignity, and I stand on it. But listen, we got two guys with dignity coming up. You say this is a great time of year. This is going to be a great show, I guarantee it, because the Bergen County Boys Soccer Tournament semifinals were played on Sunday. 2 games at Ridgewood High School. Northern Highlands won one, Ramapo won the other, and both head coaches, Highlands Sean Devore and Ramapo's Evan Baumgarten, will join us on the show here tonight. We're bringing out the heavy guns.
Good stuff. That's why the hits on this show are off the chart. And that's why you get paid the big bucks, because you get the big names on this show.
That's right. I mean, what bigger names could there possibly be at this point in North Jersey right now, other than the recently retired Jim Fucci, who is the reigning county champion?
We're heavy here. I think this is the best podcast, soccer show in Bergen County. I'd be the only, but I think it's the best.
Wow. That, you really just melted my heart with that one. You know, listen, after we do these 2 interviews, we'll talk about some other stuff going on around North Jersey. Yep. On Saturday, I covered both of the Passaic County finals, boys and girls. We'll touch on that a little bit. We'll talk about some other things. But when you got the guys that we have for this show tonight, I think we would be remiss not to jump right into these interviews. If we're going to talk about the Bergen County Boys Soccer Tournament, there's nobody better to do it with than our first guest here of the evening. He is the head coach of the Northern Highlands Boys Soccer Program. Sean Devore joining us here on Hitting the Post. Coach, thanks for hopping on.
Oh, thanks a lot for having me. I appreciate it. What's going on, guys?
I mean, you got to be really excited, but we're excited to watch. I mean, both Jimmy and I were at the game yesterday at Ridgewood High School, and we'll talk about Friday night in a little bit, but let's look back at Sunday and the semifinal round. I mean, I talked to you a little bit after the game, and I even mentioned to you, I mean, Bergen Catholic came into that semifinal playing as well as any team in Bergen County, and Jimmy, you know, cover your ears here for a second. You know, really played right through Cliffside Park, the defending champion last week. And your kids come out, fired up, 5 minutes in, 1-0. You had to be thrilled with that effort.
Yeah, they played very well. We talked to the boys a lot about trying to come out quickly, and you know, we knew when we had seen Bergen and Ramsey, we had seen Bergen and Cliffside, and you know, we actually went to go see Bergen Bosco as well. So we knew them from watching them. You know, we knew a team was going to be a handful, and he was. I thought they were very organized. I think Rory does a great job with them, and you know, luckily we were get that first goal in the first couple of minutes, and when you're lucky enough to do that, the complexion of the game kind of changes. And we were lucky enough that when we had that first goal, they had to kind of come out of that defensive shell a little bit. And when they did, we were able to break them down a little bit more later on in the game.
Jimmy, he says lucky, but that wasn't luck yesterday.
I think when Highlands gets on the board first, it gives them a nice cushion. And then if you were at the game and you saw their second and third goal, I think it just deflated Bergen Catholic. I mean, that second goal, I was sitting up there with the coach from Bergen Tech. Bergen Tech, and that ball was serviced out of the back line, and this kid ran 40 yards, full sprint. Saved the ball from going out of bounds, put a nice touch on it right on the end line, second post, kind of trapped it right back to the 18. The kid buried it. I mean, now you're up 2-0, and if I'm Bergen Catholic, I'm saying, oh my God. And the third goal was just as pretty as the second goal.
Yeah.
Amazing. You don't see that stuff every day in soccer.
No, not in high school soccer. All right, ask the coach a question, will you?
Listen, Coach, I say it all the time with coaches and speaking. I said it myself. This is a magical time of the year.
It's what you play for. It's what you work for in the summertime. And, for all the kids, especially the seniors, this is your last shot at doing something special in your careers. 95% of these kids will never play another competitive game in their lives. Some of them are lucky enough to go to the next level. And, I say it every year at my dinner. There's nothing better than high school sports. You're playing with your friends, in front of your friends and family, in front of your community. And it's just a lot of fun to be involved in it. And, you guys made a great run last year and had a great chance and won the tournament last year. And you know what it feels like. And, we were lucky enough a couple of years ago to do it. And the guys that are on the team now weren't around for that. So I think they're really excited for it because this is their last shot at really doing something in counties. And, we've been successful in some other aspects of the seasons, but the last couple of years, not in this tournament. So, this is their last chance at it, and they know that, and they're going to be ready for it, that's for sure.
We should do a Where Are They Now with Rami Mamery, who scored the game-winning goal last time you won a county championship.
Yeah, Rami and I still keep in touch. He's doing well. I had Rudy last year. I have Rawad on my team this year, so I know the Mamery family very well. Very well.
So, Coach, it's going to be crazy because there was a chance it was going to be a Bergen Bosco final. There was a chance it was going to be a mixed parochial public final. And in the end, Ramapo knocks off Don Bosco Prep, and now it's round 3, Northern Highlands Ramapo. And I don't even want to use your line from yesterday. You tell us what that matchup means again.
Yeah, we spoke yesterday. It's for my money, and I'm probably a little biased because I'm involved in it, but I think it's the best rivalry in the state. If you look at the success of the two teams the past couple of years in the state tournament and the county tournament in our league, and I told you yesterday that, we've been lucky enough to beat them twice, but they easily could have won either game, and they're playing very well right now. Evan's obviously fantastic at what he does. He's been here doing this for much longer than I have. And, the thing about this rivalry is we both know each other so well. We've played twice. We've seen them about 4 or 5 other times. I'm sure they've seen us a bunch of other times besides that as well. So, it's all going to come down to execution and who can, defend the set piece, who can score in the set piece, and who wins the tackle, because there's not going to be any surprises on the field. We both know each other way too well for that.
Yeah, excuse me. No, absolutely. And it's going to be a crazy atmosphere. Friday night, Halloween night. Stands are going to be full, probably with everybody in, various outfits, which should lend to the general, bizarre nature of what's going on here. So, and it's a great high school sports experience. Before we came on the air, we were talking a little bit about it. But this is the type of thing, I talk about this all the time on my football show because of everything that's going on crazy, with high school football. But from a high school sports perspective, you got 2 guys back who played academy soccer the last 2 years, the Burstein brothers, if I'm saying that properly. I usually just have to write it, not speak about it. But, both of them so huge in yesterday's win, physical, talented, a whole bunch of dimensions that they bring to your team. And with what you lost last year in senior leadership, Aaron and Joshua have stepped in and probably provided a lot for you. Just talk about those 2 guys coming back into the program, and, you basically reloaded from in your own district.
Yeah, it's nice they came back, as we just talked about before we came on the air, that, they've been in Highlands for 4 years. They've been students there, and they played their freshman year, and then they left to play academy, and then they came back. And, the coaching staff is very happy they came back because they've played fantastic, hard-working, diligent kids. And I think it took a while for them to kind of gel with the team. Just from new personnel. Whenever you got new kids trying to play together, and again, they were all playing academy, so they weren't used to playing with a lot of the guys that have been around. But, you know, it's really, as you see now, starting to come together, and what a perfect time to come together because, you know, they're playing very well, and, you know, just great kids, too. I mean, the way they've kind of acclimated themselves to the program, you know, they're work-hard kids, and, you know, whatever we tell them to do, they do it with a smile on their face, and that's the best part about them.
I talked to Josh yesterday, interviewed him, and he said, you know, if I score, that's great for me, but really, you know, I work for the team. So, you know, whoever scores, he doesn't care as long as you guys knock one in. And Jimmy talked about that second and the third goal. It was the first one that I was the most impressed with because Joshua, you know, the ball was rolling toward the corner flag, could have easily gone out of bounds. You know, it's one of those hopeless balls. Either you're going to chase it or you're not going to chase it. He decided to chase it. He keeps it in bounds, plays it back. Then, you know, 3 passes later, it's the goal. So, you know, skill is great, but the want to is, more, you know, just as important, if not more so.
Yeah, and the thing that impresses me about the kid is just his composure. You saw it there. I don't know if you had a chance to see our St. Joseph's game the week before. You know, the goalkeeper came out, and the goal's open, and defenders are rushing back, and most high school kids were just panicking, hit the ball from 35 yards, but he kept his composure. He calmly dribbled, took a touch towards the goal, and even with the goalkeeper kind of bearing down on him last week, he finished well. And you saw it there again. Not too many high school kids are going to finish that ball. And, you know, he just got over it, kept it on frame, and it went in. So, you know, the two of them together, too, are just hard-working kids that have bought into the system, that have bought into working hard and accepting their roles. And, you know, we couldn't be happier that they're here, that's for sure.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
Coach, you say hard-working kids. I watched you guys play against Chatham last year in the state semis, and the thing I was most impressed about is your work rate and your pace off the ball and your transition forward and back. It's amazing. Now, when these kids came into your system, was it difficult? Was it difficult for them to really get their feet wet? Was it difficult to, you know, blend in with your style of soccer for these guys?
I think a little bit at first it was. I mean, you know, just like most high school teams, we have fitness tests, you know, when you come into the season, and they pass those with flying colors. But, you know, I think both of them especially are attack-minded players, which is fine, and that's great. But especially for Aaron, who plays at an outside wing midfield position, there are some defensive responsibilities that I don't think he was used to at first. Not because he's not willing to do it, just because he's not used to doing it. And, you know, he came in, and it took a while for him to get used to it, but now, you know, he gets up and down the flank just as well as anybody in the state. And you know, Josh, although he plays our center forward position, still understands to get behind the ball and help us when we need help. And again, the fact that they've blended so well has made us to be pretty successful this season.
Again, the thing that I'm most impressed with, it's easy to get forward, man. It's easy to get forward when you can, you know, be Johnny in the spot and possibly get your name in the
on the website. Don't say the paper, Jim. Don't say
sorry, buddy. Sorry, buddy. I'm gonna get fired now, I guess. But it's for me, looking at a game, it's impressive to see how fast you guys get back on the ball, and I think that's why you guys have been extremely successful. I mean, you could talk world about your goalkeeper, but I mean, you know, you guys don't give up any space, and it's amazing how fast your guys fly and snap back into shape. And your back third, it's fun to watch. I got to be honest with you. I'm kind of glad Bosco knocked you guys off last year because I think we would have a real difficult time penetrating what you guys do in your back third. And it's fun to watch.
Yeah, you know. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Absolutely.
Oh, okay. You know, it's just something that we preach that you know, I get that a lot from going back to my West Orange days as an assistant when I worked with Doug Nevins, who, you know, I think is one of the best coaches in the state, and we really worked a lot on transition defending, and I learned a lot of that from him. So when I left West Orange to come to Highlands, I took a lot of that with me, and you know, the kids bought into it. It's, as you know, it's not always fun teaching that. It's not always fun doing that at practice, but they understand it's a very important part of the game to be successful, and I'm just very impressed with how much they've bought into it because, again, it's easy to get kids to go forward and score goals and want to do that. It's not easy to make kids want to win 50-50 tackles and get back behind the ball. So I give a lot of credit to the boys for that.
I agree. When I was filling out the bracket, when the brackets came out, you know, the matchup I wanted to see in the finals was you guys against Ramapo. You play each other twice during the season. You're going to see each other again in the county finals. You're probably going to run into yourselves again in the states, and it's just something that I think it's good for high school soccer. You know, back in about maybe 10 years ago, everybody wanted to see that Ramapo Bosco game, and now it's almost evolved into. I agree with you. I think it's one of the best rivalries in the state of New Jersey. Because it's you got two quality teams, and I think you said it best, Coach. Nobody's going to surprise anybody. You know what they do. You know their tendencies. They know your tendencies. They know who you play through. They know what you do well. It's going to come down to that set piece. It's going to come down to that long throne. It's going to come down to that 50-50 in your back third, or even your middle third, to just to hold on to that ball and keep possession. And those are the little things that people, I don't think, see when they watch a game. Everybody goes, let's see goals, but it's the little things, winning that 50-50 in the middle third, and that's going to be the nature of the game on Friday, because it's going to be the little things that are, going to prevail a team, and it's going to be fun.
Sean, doesn't it sound like Jimmy is a little upset that he gave up the job over there at Cliffside?
No, not at all.
Yeah, I thought it's funny. We were sitting together. We were watching the game together, Cliffside and Bergen the week before, and I could tell by the way he was talking he wanted to be back on that sideline. I could tell that the way he was talking, that's for sure.
Right. Well, you ask him about his son's playing up with the kindergartners now.
In due time.
He was calling home though to make sure to check on the game. I give you credit for that. He was calling home, check the score, and see how his son was doing. So.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, Coach. There's a couple. There's a few more things but we'll save it for later on in the season. Jimmy mentioned that he saw you last year against Chatham. Tell him he's a wimp. I was there against Allentown, and I chipped a tooth while shivering down at the College of New Jersey.
That was cold. That was tough, and I'll tell you who was a trooper that day was my wife, because my wife was there obviously for our game, and my wife teaches at West Orange High School. We both teach in the district, and West Orange played right after us. So I made her stick around and watch that game too, and she wasn't too crazy about it, but she was a trooper. I'll give her a lot of credit for that.
Well, you have a good keeper in Alec Lamb, but you also have a good keeper in the Homestead too. So
yeah, there you go.
Great stuff. Congratulations on the win here. I know you got a lot of work to do coming up Friday and then the state tournament. So thanks for jumping on the show. I'm glad we finally connected here. I'm glad I wasn't texting you while you were actively coaching a game as I did earlier this year with a egg on my face. But, it's been fun watching you, not just this year, but over the last couple of years as you've built this program into, as Jimmy said before, one of the best of the state, and certainly one of the top two public schools in New Jersey. So you've done a great job, and continued success to you.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
All right, Jimmy. Well, that was interesting with the Highlands head coach, Sean Devore. Now we're going to handle the other half of the Bergen County Boys Soccer Final coming up Friday night. We got a lot to talk about with our next guest. He is Ramapo head coach Evan Baumgarten. Coach, thanks for joining us here on Hitting the Post.
Thanks for having me. Anytime I can get together with you and the big JF, I'm in good company.
Yeah, I don't know if I really believe that, but we do appreciate you saying it. So, we talked a lot yesterday after your game, but we'll just rehash some of that stuff that we were talking about, because your team this year, the mark of any good coach, any good program, any good team is that it's better at the end of the year than it was at the beginning, and you can certainly say that about the Ramapo Green Raiders this year.
Yeah, we're always a work in progress. It's that's the fun about coaching, is you're working with kids and you're trying to progress, them as soccer players, and also at the end of the day, more importantly as people. So when they can go on to the next phase of their life, feeling that they accomplished something while they were with you.
Yeah, and that shows in your program. You are gracious enough to invite me to the tailgate every week, which I do appreciate. And the great thing about it, beside the food and everything else that goes with it, is the fact that not only do you see former players from Ramapo coming back to enjoy, this team's run, and you could say that on any given year through a county tournament or a state tournament, but you also see parents of kids who played 10 years ago, 15 years ago, who come back too. And I think that says a lot, because it was a great part of the parents' lives as well as the kids who played.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I always believe we're trying to create, a culture that an environment where everybody feels like they're a part of it. It's not about, me as the coach. It's, about the players and the families that have gone through, you hope that, they're a part of it. Because I think in this day and age, whether, parents are a part of it, and, if they're with you on your side, it's very helpful.
Yes, and my point was it was a shout-out to Rosalie Alvarado for the tremendous empanadas this weekend. Unbelievable.
That's it.
All right, so let's talk about the game a little bit here. Down 1-0, down 2-1. You get to overtime. Josh Lupi rifles one into the right-hand corner of the net. His second goal of the year. Not the guy that I would have picked if I were a betting man as the number one candidate to score the game-winning goal in the quarterfinals. So, it just shows that it could be anyone at any moment, and the kid was ready. Just talk a little bit about what Josh Lupi did for you yesterday.
Yeah, Josh is, sort of a clever, is a clever player who, is good with the ball in tight spaces, and, he's a bit of a spark plug out there, because he has good feet, and, he has a pretty good motor.
Go ahead, Jimmy. Coach to coach.
You gotta feel good about the situation you're in. You in the semis, you play a quality Bosco team. You come back from behind twice to get back into the county finals. How confident is your team right now?
Yeah, I think they're excited about the opportunity to play in the final. These, as you don't always get these opportunities, and when you do, you gotta enjoy it. And, everything from there, you hope that, at the end of the day, the scoreboard facing you and, in your favor. But right now, it's, I would say experiencing being in the county final, like I was watching last year, the game, Cliffside and Don Bosco. It's a great environment. It's a great place for a kid to say, have that memory of playing in such a fun place where, people are watching and, they're creating memories with your buddies.
Let me ask you a question. I don't know if I expect to get an honest answer. A little sweeter that it was Don Bosco in the semifinals?
Excuse me?
A little sweeter beating Don Bosco in the semifinals?
Yeah. Hey, anytime you go up against a non-public school, it's more of a challenge, and you gotta really feel good when you can get one off of one of those schools, because
and a quality side of that.
Yeah, they've had success, ever since I've been coaching.
Which was when? 1953?
You got that. For a long time. So it's just, they've had a program that, you always, look at and say, hey, we want to, these are the kind of guys you want to compete against.
You've been through this so many times. I mean, you've won the Bergen County Championship 7 times. I think you've been to the finals, 10? This is the 10th trip for you?
If you say so. I don't know exactly. But
how about, when you think back to the first one to, and then compare it to now? I mean, obviously the kids are different, and they are every year, but, how about just getting, not that you ever need to recharge your batteries, but, talk about this Evan at this age getting back into it. And I don't mean you're old. I really don't. But it's, you know what I mean?
I'll throw a little tidbit. My man, Drew Strohmeyer, who coaches at Leonia, was on my team that I coached in the first county championship.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right.
And another tidbit is Evan is the longest-serving head coach in Bergen County continually, and number 2 is his former player, Drew Strohmeyer. So, but my question is, just compare it. You have to have. I'm sure you're just as excited, but it's got to be different type of juices.
Yeah, I'm as into it as I was back then. I still enjoy it. I have good people with me, that coach with me, you know, the local clubs that are involved, helping, you know, where a lot of these kids come from is great. And it's just, you know, so I enjoy it, and it's still a challenge. Yeah. Have I mellowed? Probably, yeah. Since I started, you know, you can ask Drew.
Right. I think we should ask Drew, Jimmy.
That means we have.
Matter of fact, I'll go back and tell probably something I would never do again, and it was with Drew Strohmeyer. We're playing Don Bosco in the county tournament, and back then we played quarters, and we were up by 2 goals, and we're into the fourth quarter, and they're starting to gain momentum. And this is something I did. I would never do it again. I go, Drew, go in the game, and you know you're going to get you're going to get a leg cramp. He goes in the game like it's a leg cramp. We stop. They stop the game. He comes off. They lose the momentum. We go on to win the game. I would never do that again. But I admit I did it.
Rudy Stein, get hit by the
Rudy
pitch.
Stein, absolutely.
That's it. You know, that was my first year.
The fourth quarter of soccer game. That's crazy. What did you get? Did he get a leg cramp so that you could decide if you wanted to go for it on fourth down?
Yeah, that's it.
Let's talk about some of the guys on this team, because, you know, having seen you progress over the course of the season here, I mean, I think you're getting contributions from, obviously, you know, a guy like Josh Lupi shows that you're getting contributions from everybody on your roster. I think Dylan Rocchio is doing a great job in the center midfield, and you made a great point yesterday when I interviewed you after the game, was that your freshman, Sebastian Varela, really doing a good job of holding up play and letting guys run off him a little bit, and that's freed up some of your guys to, you know, a Charlie Ortiz to run off the side, or, you know, a Ryan Campbell to stretch defenses. So talk about, well, Varela first, because I'm talking about him.
Sebastian, you know,
go ahead.
Sebastian, you know, he's just so composed, you know, on the ball, you know, and can, you know, keep the ball to, you know, for us to get players forward. And the best part of his game that's improved, you know, playing in that spot, and we had Dylan Rocchio there because Dylan was a very good defender. And, you know, on defensive midfield spot. And the way we play, we need someone that can defend. And Sebastian, you know, that wasn't a part of his game. And he's really evolved in that aspect, which is, you know, help Dylan be able to get more forward and, you know, create more chances off of things, you know, in the final third.
And Dylan scored twice for you yesterday. And, you know, you have a difference maker in the goal, too, because Armin Biagini, not only a good athlete with good instincts, but, you know, he's mean about it. He'll come out and take your head off.
Yeah, no, he's a great leader. He's just, you know, and even a better person. You know, he's just a special person, you know, in our program. And, you know, he's a fierce competitor. You know, at the same time, he shows a lot of caring for the rest of our players on the team. So, absolutely. You know, there's two sides to him, you know, which, you know, I think makes him, you know, a complete athlete.
Right.
I think the most impressive thing about the kid, have you seen his calves? His kid's huge. His calves are like Popeye calves.
That's
it. Yesterday. It's like, look at this kid. He's like a linebacker.
Yeah. And he's also a heck of a baseball player, too. I mean, I've seen him hit the ball a mile, too. All right. So 2 times against Northern Highlands. You've played them already. A 2-0 loss early, a 1-0 loss last week. What do you got to do you don't have far to go. So what is are you going to change anything, or is it just a matter of doing what you do and doing it a little bit better? Or
yeah, you know, we have to, you know, we're, you know, thinking about, you know, because they're a very difficult team to play against, in that, you know, a lot of times they do things that, you know, they don't replicate. So, you know, and they're so athletic that, you know, it's hard to just say, okay, we're going to try to take this away from them. They're just,
right.
You know, very athletic guys, and, you know, defensively, they are hard to get by. That's one thing that they, when they come to the plate, they come to the field to play, they stand behind their defense, with playing with only one front runner. So
yeah, I wrote that in my story, of yesterday's game. Like, they don't have a guy who's going to, take on 4 defenders, beat them all, and go through. But they do it by, moving the ball, getting everybody involved, and their counterattack is killer.
Yeah, no, that's and they have guys that can slice you up, up front, guys that get forward.
Yep.
That can get you going one way, get you off balance, and and they catch you on the counter. They're good at, they're just very, very high intensity team. Who gets all over the second ball. Say the ball's played and they're getting, the first one you try to get, and they're, they might get their head on the first one, but they're definitely getting the second one and, turning that into an attack.
Jimmy, do you have another question for the coach? I mean, I don't want this to end. It's Hall of Fame night here on the Hitting the Post.
I got to be honest, I thought you forgot about me for a little bit, buddy.
Yeah, I got involved in the conversation.
I think you forgot about me. I was actually going to help my wife do the dishes upstairs. I was going to say, you don't need me, man.
I thought you were just doing your best John Lombardo impression.
No, see, I was not going there. Never mind. I think you're absolutely right. Their work rate is incredible. The way they win a second ball is incredible, and I think you guys have seen each other so many times. Like I said to Coach Devore, that you're not going to surprise anybody, and I think the game's going to come down to that set piece, that long throw, winning that 50-50 ball in the middle to hold possession to get forward. But I think the game mostly is going to come down on your end is keeping your shape, and I think the better your shape is, and tell me if I'm wrong, the better your shape is, the better quality opportunity you have to win that second ball.
Yeah, we have to stay more compact. Yeah. When our shape that goes hand in hand with our shape. Mm-hmm. We can't. We have to have players around the ball in numbers because they're so athletic, and there's guys that are good on the ball, and if you don't, they're running by you.
Mm-hmm. The work rate is great, and the way they get up and down the field with the passion.
Jimmy, you trying to scare him or something?
No, listen, bro. Did you ask
he knows they're good.
Did you ask me to talk to this guy?
I'm just saying, he knows they're good.
Jill, you need me to help you with the dishes, Jill? 'Cause I'll help you. That's it, I'm done for tonight. Evan, good luck on Friday. I'm done for tonight. I just got yelled at twice by my boss.
Evan Baumgarten, head coach of the Ramapo boys soccer program, on a night here where there have been more county championships represented than any here tonight on Hitting the Post than there ever have been on any other local internet-based radio show dealing specifically with Bergen County high school athletics. That's Devore has 1, Jimmy has 1, Evan 7, that's 9. I don't know. I think we covered the gamut here. So, Evan Baumgarten, thanks for joining us on Hitting the Post, and thanks for creating a spat between me and Jimmy.
Thank you. I'm going to go wash dishes now. Thank you, Coach.
You got it.
Jimmy, hear this. That was me taking a deep breath after probably the greatest, now all due respect to my friend John Lombardo, who was my co-host last year. This, my friend, the last half hour of Bergen County High School boys soccer talk, unmatched anywhere else in any other medium or media outlet in Bergen County. Do you agree?
I agree, but you have a co-host on here. You can call on me once in a while too. But
Jimmy, don't get.
I'm kidding, dude. I'm kidding.
I know, but I got a red face. I'm blushing. I feel horrible. You wanted to say more to Evan. We kept him for 45 minutes. What do you want the guy to? You want a personal sit down, like a fireside chat?
It's all good, man. It's all good. You're the guru. You're the Batman. I'm the Robin. I speak when you ask me to speak. That's bottom line. And I'm good with that. I'm comfortable with that. Kind of like between my wife and I. She's the Batman and I'm the Robin.
I got a Batman in my house too, so I feel good to be wearing the utility belt in this week got going on here. All right, a couple other things here that I just want to touch on. Great game on Saturday in the Passaic County final. We don't do as much Passaic County as we should, but I showed up at Wayne Valley High School on Saturday, and impressive by DePaul. Jim, here's the curious thing about it. I want to ask your opinion as, all kidding aside, a great high school soccer coach. Now, DePaul beat Wayne Hills. The defending, interesting story because Wayne Hills beat DePaul last season when DePaul was the number 1 seed. That game in the semifinals went to penalty kicks, and Wayne Hills went on to win last year's county championship. So this year, the tables are reversed. DePaul's playing Wayne Hills in the final. They're out for revenge, and they get it 2-1. The 2 goals came off of, I won't say like lumped balls forward, but they were of the longer variety. You know, one long diagonal ball from the center of the park to the right that was struck in on the first touch, and another one up from the back to the left side, and the kid walked in and scored. I talked to Steve Beneventine after the game. He's the DePaul head coach, and he was almost apologetic because I said, you know, I think you did a good job using the long ball today. And he's like, well, you know, he started to give excuses. It's gotten so crazy now with, you know, Barcelona, tiki-taka, play the ball through on the ground, everything else. You know, the long ball works when the long ball is available. You know? What's your what?
You got to mix it up. You like we always told the kids in Cliffside, you know, you want to diversify your portfolio. Yeah, they're going to look to see you knock it around and have options around the ball, but every once in a while, man, you got to service ball over the top. Every once in a while, you got to take a shot from 30 yards out. Every once in a while, you got to play a little long ball on a counterattack just to keep the other team, you know, honest. And honestly, a goal is a goal. Whether it was blown in by the wind, whether it was by accident, I would never apologize for a goal, especially if the 2-1 made a county championship. But you know, I wasn't at the game, and I don't know coach that well, but.
Yeah, no, and you know, because I think he took it as me kind of like giving him the business a little bit, saying, hey, he scored on 2 long balls. But I was actually being complimentary, like, hey, listen, it's great to watch Barcelona do it. They're the best team in the world, and they got a World Cup All-Star team there, so they can, you know, use 20 passes to get through to earn 4 yards of space. This is high school soccer. It's a little bit different. And I'll tell you this, like a team like Chelsea has had success over the years with Peter Cech kicking the ball 80 yards down the field looking for Didier Drogba's head. So that works too.
And right in our backyard, you got a team that and I'm not going to say they solely rely on the long ball, but, I mean, Highlands. I mean, a lot of their passes, they got length to their passes, and a lot of people think they play long ball. If you watch them play, I think they have a nice combination of long ball, a nice combination with the pace, and a nice combination with options around the ball. But they, you know, they diversify their portfolio nicely, and a lot of people think they play long ball. So, hey, listen, man, it works for some. It doesn't work for others. It depends on your style. But as long as you're scoring, who cares? No?
Right.
I don't know.
Right. I agree with you. In is what they say.
In is in, man. Ball's round. Just get in.
Yeah. And the second goal was beautiful because Luis Arneo was a senior at DePaul. Ball played up from the midfield by Jorge Paleo. Arneo's running in on the right, and the ball took 2 bounces to get to him, and you could see it. And I heard you, you know, similar to the Nick Roca goal that was so big for you when you were screaming, hit it first time, you know? Same type of opportunity for him. I mean, Nick's was a rolling ball, but this one was a bouncer, but he crushed it with his first touch right into the side of the goal. So that was big for DePaul. And the other thing I want to mention about that game is, like I said, this was the first time I'd seen DePaul all year long. Mm-hmm. And there are a lot of good goalkeepers around. I mean, we just talked to 2 coaches that have 2 real good ones in Alec Lamb for Northern Highlands and Armand Biagini for Ramapo, and there are plenty of other ones around. But DePaul has a 6'7" goalkeeper named Kyle Hardigan who came off his line on numerous occasions, and with that wingspan, you know, Wayne Hills had some restart opportunities, some long throws, and Jimmy, 6'7" in the, you know, Cliffside has one in Eddie Argueta, who's good, but he doesn't have the height.
Right.
You know, think of Argueta's skills with 6'7". That is a luxury that many high school coaches would love to have.
They've always had a good goalkeeper up there in DePaul. Dating back, I guess about 6-7 years ago, Coach's son was a goalkeeper, first-team All-State goalkeeper, and every year thereafter, they've had an All-State caliber goalkeeper. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah, good stuff there. That was the Passaic County Boys Final. In the Passaic County Girls Final, Wayne Hills against Clifton for the second straight year. This time, again, it was Wayne Hills. This time Wayne Hills came out on top, 1-0 in double overtime. Really well played game. And Jimmy, this is an interesting aspect too. Sabrina Cierney, a senior midfielder for Wayne Hills. They go through 80 minutes scoreless regulation. They go through 10 minutes of the first overtime, so 90 minutes scoreless. She goes over to Coach Greg Rayberger and says, "Coach, you got to put me up top here. I want to make something happen." 4 minutes into the second overtime, bang, goal. So, sometimes you just got to turn it over to the players.
I agree. Look in her eyes. See what her eyes tell you. Eyes don't lie.
Yeah, and if somebody's going to go up to you before double overtime and say, "I want it," you'd be remiss not to give it to her.
Got to give it to her. She's a senior.
I love the way you vamp when you don't know anything about Passaic County girls soccer.
Not a damn thing.
You know what? I think that is a great place to leave it on this edition of Hitting the Post.
Hey, time out. We spoke about Passaic girls, Passaic boys. We spoke about all boys all night. We've got a girls' finals here in Bergen County. That's going to be one for the ages too, buddy. You got your IHA and you got your Northern Highlands, and I believe last year that game was a draw. And I'm looking forward to seeing that game this weekend because I think it's going to be one for the ages, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's so crazy too because credit to both coaches that they didn't play each other this year. They could have played a game in late September, gotten a couple thousand people into the stands to go watch that, but you could see this rematch coming a mile away. You could see it coming the minute both teams walked off the field last year after that 1-1 tie in the Bergen County final. This was going to happen. Mm-hmm. And now they're going to meet up here, not only the two best teams in Bergen County, but the two best teams in the state of New Jersey. Now, I pay zero attention and put zero credence into national rankings by sites of people who have never seen teams play.
Right.
But if you want to do that kind of thing, both of these teams are ranked nationally, so it's going to be a crazy atmosphere there for the Bergen County girls final. And when you see the level of play of these two teams, a girl like Hannah Kerner for Northern Highlands, the Jarretts for IHA, Alex Misropian, if she's healthy, she got hurt a little bit, and 30 other girls who are going to be on the field. I mean, the level of play of girls soccer has just risen 100-fold since I started doing this back in the late 90s.
Yeah, I agree. And IHA is licking their chops, and if you think Northern Highlands isn't licking their chops, they haven't lost a game in, 225 games maybe?
Well,
not really. What is it, about 80? Is it 80-something games? What is it?
It's 80-something. I could tell you exactly. It was the North 1 Group 3 state sectional final in November of 2010.
Okay.
And our previous guest, Evan Baumgarten's daughter, Amanda, scored a hat trick in the last game that Northern Highlands lost.
Okay,
so,
2000 and what?
2010. It's now 2004.
And if I know anything about Coach Madigan, she's playing that card that this team tied us last year, and it's our only blemish in 4 years. So if you don't think Northern Highlands is licking their chops to get revenge for sharing a county title, it's just honestly, it's going to be a great game to go watch.
Well, let me ask you again from a coach's perspective. Every time I cover a Highlands game, and I hate doing it, it's like the stupid media guy who's like, "Hey, how about the streak?"
Yeah.
But you got to ask about it, and every time you ask about it, they'll tell you, "Well, we don't really pay attention to the streak itself. We just want to play each game, as it comes, and it builds itself. We don't do it." Mm-hmm. But Jimmy, they're more than conscious about carrying that thing around with them.
I don't know. I haven't spoke to Coach about it much.
Why didn't you ask her on the show?
Huh?
Why didn't you ask her to come on the show?
We should have her on the show. I'll ask her.
All right.
We had a streak in Cliffside. We didn't lose a home game at Cliffside from middle of 2006 season until the middle of the 2011 season. I think it was 78 games, home games. We hadn't lost. We tied a few, but we hadn't lost. And we never spoke about that. We spoke about it in the beginning of the preseason. We said, don't be that team that ruins our streak. But it was never something we spoke about before or after games or during training sessions before big games. So I wouldn't be surprised if they don't talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and who used to cover those games during that streak? That was Jack Cognetta.
Yeah, Jack is a good boy.
Absolutely. Well, all right, Jimmy. Are we safe now? Can we wrap this thing up? Put a bow on it?
I want to thank you for coming back to me to wrap up the show, because I think for a split second there you forgot about me. It's never about me, but you know what?
Jimmy, it's not about you.
Awesome. I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah, and we will do it again next week. Listen, this is high time for high school sports. This is fun. And we'll line up more guests. I guess that, again, will fall to me because I got the 2 tonight. But, you know.
Is that big?
It was a little dig. I mean, you know, John Lombardo said last week that, you know, at least he got guests. I mean, he did say that.
Okay. I got you.
Jimmy Fucci, great job this week. And we'll do it again next week. How about that?
Follow the leader.